Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to be giving you guys my spoiler review for episode 2 of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Before we get into it, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn notifications on because later on today, I'm going to be posting a Suicide Squad trailer reaction video and a spoiler-free review of the first 3 episodes of Amazon Prime's new original show, Invincible. But without wasting any more time, let's get into it. So basically, in this video, I'm just going to be covering every single section that I thought was important in the show and give you guys my thoughts on it. And at the end, I'll give you kind of like a final take of what I thought of the episode. Starting off with John Walker and him taking up the responsibility of getting the Captain America mantle. It starts off with him in the boys football locker room at his old high school, and he goes out and gets interviewed in front of the entire school, and he gets broadcasted on Good Morning America. And we finally get that pressure of being Captain America. We never really got that with Steve Rogers because he was the original one, but this Captain America, John Walker's Captain America, has to live up to the mantle that Steve Rogers had. He has to live up and fill up those shoes that Steve Rogers had before John Walker. And it was super cool to see that side of John Walker, that nervous side, because we never really got to see that side of him in the last episode. As the last episode, we were just introduced to him. So I thought it was super cool the way that they kind of made us sympathize for him and see what he has to go through. And this episode did a lot of that because I felt like they did a great job of showing both sides. Honestly, I still don't really like him. He's still kind of but it doesn't really matter. I mean, it's cool that they showed both sides, and that's kind of what sticks out to me most. We also got our first interaction between Sam and Bucky because in the first episode they never even met each other. I thought that initial interaction between the two wasn't anything crazy. I wish they kind of built it up a little more. Maybe they met when they were fighting, but it did fit really well into the story because they both just saw Captain America's mantle getting passed down, and we see towards the end of the episode that's why Bucky is so mad. It's because he knew that that's not what Captain America wanted. That's not what Captain America didn't want to go to some random person. He wanted to go to Sam, and that's why he gave it to him. And Bucky was mad that Sam didn't really honor that, and he didn't really understand Sam's point of the story. And we kind of get that all of that stuff explained throughout this episode. We also got great banter between the two. I cannot wait for the rest of this series. We're only 2 episodes in. I think there's 6 episodes total, and this episode we already got so much banter between the two. I can't wait to see what Marvel does between those 2 characters next. We got great jokes, a lot of great comedy, and then they also switched to serious tones a lot. One example of that was in the scene in the therapy scene later on in the episode, which I'll go into more detail later in the video. But they switched between different tones, and they did it really well. It didn't feel too sudden. It actually felt like they got into it in time. It wasn't too much comedy, it wasn't too much seriousness. They had a good balance in this episode. We also saw Bucky's new arm, and in that we saw Falcon drop the name White Panther. I think he said something along the lines of, when you went to Wakanda, you think you're the White Panther, and then Bucky says the White Wolf. So maybe that's hinting towards a new character arc for Bucky. Maybe he's not the Winter Soldier anymore. Maybe he's becoming the White Wolf. I think that's super cool. He has a vibranium arm. We didn't get too much explanation on how he got the vibranium arm. Obviously, we know he got it in Wakanda, but I think we never actually got that story set out to us. So maybe we see it in a flashback, but I'm super excited because I love the White Wolf. I love that character, and that post-credit scene in Black Panther got me so hyped, and I felt like Marvel just tossed it to the side, but maybe they're planning on showing it in this series. So I'm excited to see what that stuff all leads to. And then we got the insane action sequence in the truck, or on the trucks. It was super dope. We got to see Bucky and Sam fight together, and then we saw new Captain America. I'm just gonna keep calling him Walker because I feel like that's way easier than saying the new Captain America. But Walker comes in from a from a helicopter, and like lands on the truck, and they honestly all fight together. It was super cool to see them fight together with the shield, and Bucky holds the shield, hands it off to Walker, and it was cool to see that. But it still felt weird that they were working with Walker and he's kind of against them, and we see that more towards the end of the episode, but I'll talk about that later again. And we also kind of get that conversation in the truck where John Walker is saying that he wants to prove to the world that he can be a new Cap. He doesn't necessarily want to just be like Steve Rogers' Captain America. He wants to be John Walker's Captain America. He wants to set his own stone in the Captain America legacy, I guess. And I think that's super cool that I feel like Marvel's trying to get us to side with him or not side with him. I feel like most people aren't going to side with him, but there's going to be a few people because you see it, and you see his side of the story, and you see the ways that people can actually sympathize with him. And I think it's super cool the way that Marvel is making this story so double-sided. But then we see Sam and Bucky just really don't care for the man. I mean, it's sad. It's sad in the moment, but then you realize, like, Sam and Bucky have gone through so much with Steve Rogers, and they've been by his side for so long, especially Sam. I mean, especially Bucky. So I feel like it's something that, like, it means a lot to them, and it makes sense as to why they don't want to be with him. And they kind of give in a little bit, like, they got in the truck with him and all that kind of stuff, but they overall just don't really care for him. So I thought it was super cool how, again, they make this story so double-sided, and that's, I felt like, what the main premise of this episode was who are you siding with? Are you siding with Captain America? And also another thing that I noticed about John Walker's Captain America is that he's a more of a government person. Like, he's not actually like a free agent like normal Captain, like Steve Rogers' Captain America. He's working directly into the government. Steve Rogers' Captain America obviously liked the government, but we know that whenever the Sokovia Accord stuff happened in Civil War, he didn't necessarily side with the government. That's what Tony was doing. So maybe that's another reason why Sam and Bucky don't like the new Captain America, because he's working directly with the government. And as they mentioned in the end of the episode, they are technically free agents. And then we saw another part in this episode, which I thought was kind of random. They met this guy named Isaiah. He was the first black super soldier, and he was from Bucky's time. So was that cool? Yes, but I didn't really understand it, and I don't really understand like how it's necessary to the story. Maybe they went to ask if there were more people like them, because I think that was the main premise of them meeting him. But I don't really still understand that entire arc of like that whole meeting and what they were supposed to get done there. But I'm gonna rewatch the episode, so if I figure it out, I'll let you guys know in the comments. But let me know in the comments what you thought that whole interaction meant, because I honestly really didn't know. And then Bucky got arrested for missing his therapy, and then Bucky and Sam finally had that therapy session that we saw in the trailer. It was a super cool scene. It was super cool to see Sam and Bucky kind of banter back and forth in a closed environment too. It's not like they were like super mad at each other. They were just explaining and kind of bantering back and forth. The comedic and serious moments of that therapy session is what made this episode so awesome, and I can't wait to see more of that. And in that therapy session, we saw John Walker's like getting the mantle really messed with Bucky, because Bucky knew that Captain America gave Sam that shield for a reason, and Bucky's just mad that Sam didn't fulfill that reason, and Sam just wasn't ready. Bucky doesn't understand that because he wasn't in his position, and the other way around. It was just super cool. I keep saying double-sided, but this episode was so double-sided in so many reasons, in so many ways. We got the first Isaiah thing with the super soldiers. I don't even know what that means, but it felt so double-sided. Then we got John Walker as Captain America, and then we got Bucky and Sam about the shield banter. So I think this episode had a lot of places where they tried to make us side with one another, which makes a lot of sense. And I hope they keep doing that in this show, because I feel like it's super cool that no Marvel show really does that, or no Marvel project has really done that. Yes, they usually make you side with the hero, because it's always like you only get the hero's perspective, but in this way, the new Captain America isn't necessarily a villain, but he's more of an ally that they don't like, I guess you could put it that way. And then John Walker at the end of the episode says, "Don't get in my way." I feel like that's something that's going to lead to a lot more stuff down the road. I'm super excited to see what happens in the series, not only between Bucky and Sam and then the terrorist organization, but also Bucky and Sam and John Walker. I'm super excited to see all the stuff in between there, and I think it can lead to some great battles or whatever. It can lead to great action is what I'm trying to say. Basically, that's all we had in the episode, and then towards the end we got to see that they're like, okay, Zemo is our only option to go to, and Agent Carter and all that kind of stuff. So yes, they set up so much towards the end of this episode, but this episode had such great action. So I think for my final take of the episode, I would definitely say it's the best episode so far. I definitely like this episode more than the first one. The first one had one of the greatest Marvel action sequences of all time in the beginning with Falcon, but this episode also had A+ action. It had really great acting. The dialogue was super funny. It was super comedic and got serious at times. Again, action was A+, and I think the action is really what's gonna carry the show. And I'm just super excited to see what Marvel does in this show moving forward. And yeah, that's basically my spoiler review for Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Let me know what you guys thought of Falcon and the Winter Soldier down in the comments down below. If you guys want to check out any of my other Falcon and the Winter Soldier videos, you can click right here. Also, subscribe to the channel if you are new around here. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.